So, Into Creative are joined today by James and Kriss, who form the band His Lordship. They've currently or recently released their debut album and are shortly about to start a tour of the UK. So, guys, welcome. How are we doing?
I'm pretty good. How are you doing?
Not too bad. Not
Good.
too bad. Excellent. Now, the debut album, your self-titled debut album, came out in January, I believe. It doesn't hold back. The songs are powerful. 12 songs in 30 minutes or so. What's the response been so far?
Oh, it's been great. Yeah. It's great. We did like a tour of record stores at the beginning or the end of January and February, up and down the country, and loads of people came out, loads of people bought it, and we couldn't have asked for more. Well, we could ask to sell like 1 million copies, but I mean, thousands better than nothing.
That's right, yeah. You got to have some street cred and all that kind of stuff as well. So, no, that's great. And you're about to go on tour, so I believe 12 dates, I think, kicking off in Kingston upon Hull. And then you'll be hitting Edinburgh on Friday and Glasgow on Sunday. So
right.
Rehearsals going okay for that, and what can the fans expect?
Well, we haven't rehearsed yet. We probably won't rehearse. The fans can and that's not we play all the time, so we don't really have a specific. We just sort of on stage and do it these days. But what can they expect? They can expect all the songs from the record plus a few more. I mean, we've got a couple of new songs and a couple of covers, and we've also got 3 new suits that we're going to be wearing. That's probably the thing we're most excited about in the
okay. whole. Not at the same time though, right?
Well, I haven't thought about a costume change, but now you've given me the idea.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think, Kriss?
Well, we're free in the band, so we could, go mixed one night. We do have a tartan suit ready for Edinburgh.
Yep.
Fantastic. Well,
no expense spared. No expense spared.
Excellent. I will look forward to that on Friday night.
Are you coming down?
I will be. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. That's the plan.
Well, we have to wear them now. Shit.
Yep. Just touching on the album, I think it's got a real, almost primal rock and roll edge to it, but there's also quite a bit of variety in there, particularly in songs like The Repenter, which is a bit more maybe melodic overtones. So what's James and Kriss, what's the approach that you guys put into making the music? Is it music first, lyrics first? Right? What's the synopsis of how you go about writing?
Well, I live in Copenhagen these days. So, and James is in Camden, London. So it's very much like I'll send him some, he'll send me some. I'll work on what he send it back. He'll revise. But usually it starts with a good title.
Yeah, I would say. I'd say a title first, and then that's sort of then you can then something musical will come. Quite rare to get the music first for me personally. I mean, it also, Kriss is quite a strange drummer in a sense that he comes up with in a great way, because he'll come up with beats that no other drummer that I know can come up with. So that's inspiring for me. So when he just records drums very crudely and sends them to me, and they're very inspiring too. But really we write it like that. But when we get together and then we get in a room and hash it out. We spend a long time. Getting the songs together. Even though they sound like they come out and
maybe
we take out we do really go over them, edit them quite a bit, don't we?
Yeah, I mean, we these songs on this album, we came out of COVID, really.
Yeah.
So we just started playing, and we only had maybe 4 or 5 originals, and rest of them were covers. And then we were just catching up with ourselves, really. as we kind of kept playing, we got another original now. We can take that cover out. So we almost wrote it for live, how they would sound great, or how they would be fun to play.
It was interesting because it was hastily. I mean, it was almost like a hastily done album, but it wasn't. But it took a long time to get together. I can't, it's a strange thing because the COVID thing was just messed up. We could never get together. So it was like, but every time we did, we went really fast, and then like we wouldn't see each other again then they would close the borders, and then Chris would be, back again in Copenhagen. And this went on for ages. Be like, shit, they've opened it. Let's get a studio real quick. I mean, really intense period of working, and then but I mean, I think the next album will be more of the vision of the band, perhaps. I mean, that was definitely we definitely did. It's definitely announced us this album. We came out and this is what we were about. We certainly made it in a funny time. I'm sure it had an effect on it.
I think as well though, and I've not saw you guys live yet. The twice that I know you've been up north of the border, I've been on holiday somewhere. So I'm super delighted to go to see you this weekend. But I think the live reviews, particularly, really a dynamic band and leaving nothing at the door. It's full on.
It's full on.
That must be a special thing as well when you're on stage.
I mean, that's great for us. I mean, it's kind of natural. We didn't even really plan for it. It's almost like when we got up on stage, that's kind of how it happened. Wouldn't you say, Chris? It was like, wow, okay.
Yeah. We didn't quite know what is this. I remember we played that first concert. We're like, what are we?
And how every time we start a new tour, we go, it takes us a couple of years to go, what the fuck is this? Because you forget each time, because it's like, and then you have to take a couple of gigs to go, oh yeah, I remember how flipping knackered I feel afterwards. But we're a bit older than the last time now, so who knows what it's going to be like.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll be fine. And just talk about music. So there's a song I particularly like, Rockfall Echo Dust. To me, it's got a real rockabilly vibe. What or who influences your music?
That song specifically?
Just in general, but if you start with that one.
Well, I mean, I guess that song specifically, we were trying to do. What song was it called? The Gene Vincent song.
Cruising.
That one. So it's a fast. So it's just the idea for a verse, chorus, and a mad guitar break. First chorus, mad guitar break. So we thought, I wonder if we could do something like that. So Chris came up with the title, and we sort of came up with an existential crisis type song, and then a mad guitar bit. But I mean, in terms of, I guess for this first record, we had a lot of rock and roll influences. Really, would you say, Chris? I mean, that's where it came from. We came out of a rock and roll covers band because we were just bored. We had no gigs on, and we got together and just started to play like Gene Vincent songs and Elvis songs, and in a local pub up the road there in Highgate called the Boogaloo, which has been the rock and roll pub of London for many years, and where a lot of shit happens or happened anyway. No, it still happens. So we just the band was born out of that, and we just wanted to play live. There was no real agenda. There's no like we wanted, and so this album was definitely a direct result of playing those covers, I think. But we never thought I mean, that's just how it came out. But we were always we're just a band. We always thought the next album could be an avant-garde jazz record for all we know. It was more almost His Lordship just means it's just me and Chris. The rock and roll thing, might not do that again. So come while you can if you like the rock and roll.
So there's almost been an involvement then, hasn't there? So you've started off from doing those covers into then doing your own thing, and then where is it going to go next? So maybe just jumping ahead a little bit. Then do you see a maybe a slight change in direction, or will it be more of the same, or
I
difficult to
think
say?
we'll have more of our own. I mean, we're working now, and we're going to be recording at the end of the year, and there'll be a new record out next year,
Right.
early on, I think. And I would say we're it's an interesting. We don't know yet, but we're working on new songs. It's never going to lose the rock and roll sort of, energy, I don't think, but there's definitely room to go elsewhere for sure. We will if we want, we'll do it. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, it sounds like we're both really excited about the new stuff we're making.
Yeah.
But we only have we have 7-8 ideas, but it still needs to crystallize into what it will be, But it'll definitely go somewhere, but it's still got rock and roll in it.
Yeah, it's always going to be us, but I mean, it might just be a little more of ourselves, perhaps. If that makes
sense. And just in terms of the live set, will there be any covers on that, or will that just be?
Oh, do you want there
wait
to
and
be?
see?
Do you want there to be?
Oh, I want the album.
Okay, you tell us what you want, because I've got. You know what? I've been writing one down here actually. So, do you want any covers, or do you want?
Well, okay, like do me one, and
nothing too hard.
No, it's one you've done already, which was on one of your original releases. The Way I Walk. I mean, I know it's not a song by the Cramps, but I'm a huge fan, so
I've got it.
If you chuck that one in, you'll have one happy punter.
There you go.
Fantastic.
Done.
Probably this one's probably more for you, James. So you've played with the Pogues, and I think you recorded with Shane. Can you just tell us a little bit about that experience, and perhaps touch on last week's show at the Hackney Empire as well, which was obviously done for the 40th anniversary of Red Roses for Me?
Yep. Bloody hell. Well, I met the weird thing. It actually ties into His Lordship as well. There's a direct correlation there, because I met Shane at the Boogaloo pub where His Lordship started, really. So but 20 years before, So I would sit up there with Shane for hours and days, and that's how I got to know him. And I knew Spider before that. When I was in another rock and roll band actually, back when I was about 18, Spider came down. So I knew those two for a long time. And I remember always used to play Red Cadillac and a Black Moustache with Shane. That was one of his favorite songs, and His Lordship used to do that as well. So he was very much into his rock and roll, I kind of learned a lot of him. I learned a lot of that guy. He was very interesting, and I thought he was just great, and we got along really well. And I felt privileged to play in the Pogues. It was one of the best experiences of my life. And yes, and last week the Red Roses show was one of the best experiences of my life as well. It was incredible.
I'm gutted I didn't go, actually.
You missed a great show. You did.
I've got a mate who went, and he's written a review for the site we've got, so that'll be going up over the next few days. But the Pogues I've saw live more than any other band in my lifetime, so very dear to my heart. But I can, is there any, I don't know if there's any secrets in the bag, but is there any plans for any more Red Roses for Me shows, maybe up here? Or
I don't know. I should imagine after that, the success of that, and it was a beautiful moment. The whole thing was kind of, I think it took everyone by surprise. Everyone who played and everyone who was there was kind of like a bit of an experience. I would be surprised if there wasn't another gig, because it'd be a shame to not do that again.
I saw some of the footage and photos, and it just looked.
Spider was incredible. But I mean, I hope so. I really hope so. I'd love to do it again. I'd do it in a heartbeat.
Yeah. Okay, we'll get on to him.
I will. I'll ask him.
Yeah, tell me to come up. Get it done at the Barrowland or something would be good.
Oh man, don't.
the two of you again have worked with some heavy hitters in the music industry, Chrissy Hynde, Pretenders. I think is that how you guys first met?
Yes, it was Chrissy did a solo album in her only solo album in 2014, and was looking for a band that wasn't the Pretenders. So I was lucky enough to get in that band. But then after a while, like she wanted James back.
I fired everyone else apart from Kriss.
I think everybody was fired apart from me. I was like shitting myself. Like, but then I started to enjoy it, and then we just became friends after that.
Yeah.
And started playing together.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And James, you've also worked with the likes of good Scottish musician Edwyn Collins.
Yep.
Likes of I think Jerry Lee Lewis as well, which is pretty incredible. But I guess question for both of you, but is that sometimes maybe not so much nowadays, but daunting that you've been asked to go and work with someone such as Jerry Lee Lewis or Chrissy Hynde, where they've got that track record behind them that's pretty incredible. How was that experience for you both? When you're kind of beginning to make that name for yourself, and being asked to come and play in a record or come and tour.
I mean, personally, for me, I never found it. It's because I wanted to do it with every fibre of my being. Since I was, a kid. I've always sort of, honestly, taken it sort of in my stride and just, I loved it so much. I didn't. I was thinking, I thought about this before. I've been asked this before, and never felt really that daunted from it because I loved it. I could play it, and I was, couldn't wait to play with them more than I felt more like I can't wait to get in and play with them than rather than be daunted. That's what I've always felt. So that has been good for me, and I'm pleased that I felt that way, really, because I think it could have been easily, if you think about it too much, I think it's. But I always just got excited by the fact that I'd be playing with some of my heroes, because I love the music so much. If it was something, the only time I've been nervous playing with people is the very rare times that I've done something that I haven't really wanted to do, which I did when I was younger a little bit. But I knocked it on the head, really, because I just didn't. I didn't enjoy doing it. So I've only really done things that I've been lucky enough to do things that I want to do, and that was So yeah, I'm nervous. Yeah, not a lot. If I'm truly honest with you, not a lot. Really, Kriss, you don't get nervous, do you?
No, but I do. But I've had those moments, like when you're in rehearsals, one of the first times, and say like someone like Chrissy sings "I'll Stand by You," and it's suddenly you heard that song without even, and then it's like, and you're sitting there playing the drums to it.
Yeah,
I've had that a couple of few times where it's just it kind of dawns on you. Wow.
Oh yeah, if it's quite massive
experience where you.
Yeah.
And just.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
I know, like, really feeling lucky, like someone like Chrissy, she's so generous with her knowledge. So she's just done it on her own, hasn't she? Like, and the stuff she comes out with, like, I have a little folder on my phone with Chrissy-isms. Like, and you're like, and it's almost like it's a whole concept in itself. Like the other day, she'd gone, this is just something top of my head. We were doing set list again, always a new, and she'd go like, what was it? A contrast is better than a clash.
That's right.
Stuff like that. Like, it's just like.
I've actually realized now when I did feel nervous, and it was the Pogues, actually. I did have this one time because I was stepping in, and this was really, it was a situation where I felt, quite nervous, was that when I stepped in, and I stepped in for Philip, really, when Philip was everyone. And suddenly, I didn't really think anything of it. The Spider said to me in the car, went, "This is a big thing, big shoes you're stepping into, So well done as well." And I just thought, "What do you mean?" And then it suddenly dawned on me that it was, because the crowd at the Pogues gigs is something else, and I didn't want to get in his way, and I wanted to be respectful. My own thing was to be respectful, respectful to Philip and everything,
Yeah.
And so that was really hard to navigate how I was going to do it, and how the crowd would be with me. That was a funny gig, and I did feel nervous about that. And that was,
I've had the same with like stepping into Martin's shoes.
Yeah.
Like, not trying to be him, but still respect and finding your own path. And I mean, luckily I played on the last album, and that helped a lot because I could play all the new songs as me, presenting that. So slowly now but people loved him, and me too. I was a fan, So it's just one of them. Find your way of doing it without being, ripping him off, or without being like. You also have to be yourself. It's just finding that.
It's quite a fine balance, isn't it? I think.
Yeah, it's. But in time you'll find it. But in the beginning, it can freak you out a bit.
It didn't help with me because Shane kept wanting me to play electric guitar through everything. I was like, Shane, I can't do it, man. I've got to be, play electric. Just play electric. And then that went on for ages. Oh, man. I was trying to, I don't think maybe the fans don't want to hear me play electric guitar because Philip is, but all these things are like, and that was a crazy thing, but that was always very funny. Now I look back on it and find it like, just.
Well, that's right. I mean, you're right. That would be big shoes to fill. And of course, Joe Strummer did it.
Joe Strummer did it. I know.
When
he was
Phil,
the old
Phil
guy
was
that
ill,
did
wasn't
it.
He? Yeah, and then yourself. So
I feel good about that. I mean, that was a nice thing.
So one of my treasured possessions is a photo of me and Phil at Finsbury Park in, I think it was 87 or something like that.
Oh,
so
great.
I'd met him and James as well. So, but fantastic, really fantastic.
Great lads, all of them.
Yeah. Coming back to His Lordship, you've also got a live album that will be for sale called Spell the Glove.
It's not called Smell the Glove.
Is it not?
Martin.
Is it not?
Martin, our manager wrote that for a laugh.
Right. I tell you. Right,
I knew I shouldn't have fucking done that.
Yeah.
That's good. I'm going to tell him that. He'll love that. Because it's Spinal Tap, isn't it?
Oh, I see. Yeah. It's Spinal Tap.
The glove is here,
Yeah.
And that's what we say to each other, I'm going to love that. It's just...
Right. Well, actually... I was going to mention that phrase also has a different meaning in particularly the west of Scotland when it comes to football circles. And I just wondered if you were aware of that.
No, I didn't know it was Spinal Tap.
Well, it is Spinal Tap, but basically about 25 years ago, Celtic won the league on the last day of the season.
Yeah.
And when the players were getting the trophy, they took off their tops and all had T-shirts on with Smell the Glove written on it, right? And there is this strange thing that no one's really said what that meant, but it's nothing to do with Spinal Tap, and apparently, maybe rightly or wrongly, it's something to do with the Rangers goalkeeper at the time, and they were having a little dig at him. So I just wondered if you knew that story. But
no.
Yeah. So Google it after this. Smell the Glove, sell Celtic, and you'll see. So you may had you been selling that on Sunday in Glasgow, I would have been interested to see how that went down. But if that's not the name of the album, you're okay.
Well, I am actually on Sunday. I didn't realise at the time, but I'm an Arsenal season ticket holder, and I'm giving up the last day of the season to play this gig. So
huge.
There better be people out there.
Yeah.
That's find a good pub to watch it in.
And I take it you'll be cheering on your arch rivals against Man City then. Yeah.
Tonight I'm going out to watch that. Yeah.
Good.
It's quite good, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
That's a bad story.
just a couple of questions, guys, just to finish up with.
Yeah.
So you've got the tour. What's next beyond the imminent tour? Are you hitting some festivals in Europe, or what's the plan?
We go to America. We're playing about 4 or 5 shows over there.
Okay.
In July, and then we'll probably go to.
Glastonbury.
Oh, Glastonbury, we're doing. So we've announced that. A couple of
Isle of Wight.
Isle of Wight.
Yeah.
Yeah, a few festivals. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
In America, and then we're going to then we're going to maybe just see what's going on, make a new record, and we haven't decided whether we'll do any more gigs this year or not yet.
Yeah. Okay. Great stuff. Wish you every success with that.
Thank you.
Just a final question, and one you can both answer. Out of all the gigs you've been to as a fan, when you've been in the audience, which one stands out as the most memorable, and why?
Oh, there's been so many. Chris, you go first. I can never. These ones.
I mean, the one that immediately came to mind was Neil Young at the Roskilde Festival, which is like the equivalent to the Danish equivalent to Glastonbury or something. And it was with Crazy Horse, and I was out of my mind, and it was just it's just about to do like you're young, and I was playing drums, and just listening to this. That was just an amazing moment for me.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
I think that was 2000. It was something like that. Yeah.
I've got too many to know, but one of my favorite ever gigs was it was this thing called, they had this festival at the South Bank Centre. It's called the Festival of the American South, and it was in 1994. It was an amazing festival, all these Southern performers, the American Southern performers. And one of the best things I've ever seen was that they had a songwriter in the round night at the Queen Elizabeth Hall, and it was these amazing writers. It was Alan Toussaint,
Yeah.
Alan Toussaint and Dan Penn, the songwriter, the soul songwriter, Vic Chestnut, Guy Clark, the Texas songwriter, and the guy who wrote I Never Promised You a Rose Garden. Can't remember his name. Anyway, they all played together. We're all playing on each other. It was one of the most incredible things I've ever seen with these amazing songwriters, and that was possibly one of the greatest things I've seen. Just because they were just so fucking great, all these amazing songs that you've never heard, But yeah.
Fantastic. Listen, guys, that's been brilliant. Really enjoyed that. I will hopefully see you on Friday night. And maybe bump into you if you're at the merchandise stall or whatever.
Smell the glove.
Smell the glove. Yeah. If I buy an album, you can write that on it.
Get out.
Yeah.
Well, Martin's gonna love that.
Fantastic. Yeah.
It's made by.
Love it.
It's brilliant. Thanks, fellas.
But listen, thanks again, and good luck with the tour.